Hi friends, this will be a practice for the Sacral Chakra. We'll spend a moment instead just bringing our awareness to where that chakra is located. We'll chant 5 times through the seed syllable, which for the Sacral Chakra is VAM, and then we'll move into a juicy go with the flow practice with a lot of focus on lower body and hips. So grab whatever props you need, settle into a nice easy seat, find your long, tall spine, maybe softening the gaze or closing the eyes. And then bringing your awareness a few inches below your navel in the center of your being. So a little lower than the navel, but right in the very center of your being, holding your awareness at that spot. And we'll inhale, exhale, inhale to prepare, and then 5 times seed syllable VAM. Big deep breath in, full breath out. Inhale to prepare, 5 times VAM. VAM, 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 VAM. Floating or fluttering the eyes fully open. We're going to scoot our seated props out of the way and find our way over to a tabletop shape. And with our sacral chakra, thinking about juiciness, movement, sensuality, and creativity. So starting to create just a little movement for hips and spine here. Start to press yourself ever so slightly back toward a child's pose. And then forward through tabletop, but letting your shoulders come a little further forward and the heart open just a little. And then just rock yourself back and forth a couple times here. And then start to create a little snaky movement as you come back and forth, letting the shoulders wiggle and the hips wiggle as you come forward and backward. And then bring yourself back up into that tabletop shape. We're gonna move through this tabletop to come to standing at the top of our mat. So pick one foot, start to slide it forward toward your hands. Grab your ankle with your hand on that same side, bring it up toward the top of your mat, and then tuck the toe on your back foot, float that foot, slide it forward to meet your front foot. And then just take a nice little juicy, slow roll up towards standing. Find your mountain pose. And coming near one end of your mat, softening into a nice, solid, restful mountain. And then waiting for an inhale, we're going to inhale, bring the hands up overhead, find an upward hands pose. And with an exhale, dive yourself over to a forward fold. We're going to plant both the hands ground through the left foot, slide the right leg all the way back your mat, touch down the toe and the ball of the foot, and then lower the knee, untuck the toe, float the arms overhead, find your Anjanasana or low lunge. And then here in your low lunge, again, just create a little bit of juicy fluid movement in the hips as you let those hips sink a little further down toward your mat. Invitation to bring your left foot closer to the top of your mat if that feels good. Find a big inhale, reach through those fingertips. Exhale, bring your hands down to frame your left foot. Start to swing your hips back toward your right heel, but again, a little bit of fluid movement in the hips side to side as you pull back toward a half monkey pose, but not quite all the way there. And then let yourself slide forward a little bit, and then slide back, and then slide all the way forward. And we're gonna tuck the right toe, float the knee. We're gonna step our left hand inside our left foot, straighten the left knee as you turn your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your right heel in, toes also toward the long edge of your mat. We're coming toward wide forward fold. And as you find your wide forward fold, sway a couple times side to side, bringing yourself more towards one foot and then the other, just letting those hips find some juicy movement. Pausing in the center, turn your right toes all the way toward the short edge of your mat. Make sure that back foot is close enough in that you can start to bring yourself around to a low lunge on the second side, lifting that left heel and then lowering the knee and untucking the toe, bringing your hands up, up, up. And again, check in with those hips. Find a nice little juicy movement as you let those hips sink closer to the earth. Anjanasana. Big inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Let yourself draw back toward that half split, half monkey shape. The hips are sort of figurating or making an elliptical shape as you move. Finding your way all the way forward, planting all your fingertips, or if you have a longer arm to leg ratio, palms, tuck the left toe, float the knee, slide that foot forward, forward fold on the opposite side of your mat. Slow roll your way up and find your long, tall spine. Inhaling, upward hands. Exhaling, diving over. Nice, juicy forward fold. Deeply bending both knees, ground through the left foot. Lift your right heel, send your right foot all the way back. Touch down the toe, lower the knee, untuck the toe, and bring yourself up. Low lunge. Big inhale, bring those hands down to frame the front foot. Again, bring your left hand inside your left foot, but don't go anywhere just yet. Let that foot come all the way out to the edge of your mat, and then planting both the palms, let that knee fall ever so slightly just off the left side of your mat. And take a breath. Lift that knee back up, heel toe that foot back in, tuck the right toe, float the knee. Start to make yourself back toward a wide leg forward fold. So we start to walk the hands toward the center of the mat. Left toes turn in, right heel comes down. Adjust your feet as needed. Bring yourself side to side. And pausing in center. Walking hands over to the right, right toes turn. We're making ourselves back toward a low lunge shape toward the back of our mat. And nice deep inhale. Exhale to let the hands come down. Slide that hand inside your foot. Walk that foot out toward the edge of your mat. On fingertips or palms, just let that knee fall off the side of your mat. Lifting that knee back in. Slide the hand outside the knee. Tuck the left toe, float the knee, slide that foot to meet the right, forward fold. Slow roll or circle sweep your way up. Finding a long, tall spine. Inhaling, lifting the hands. Exhaling, diving over. Connecting the fingertips, ground through your right foot, slide your left foot back. This time we're going to keep the knee lifted and come right into our wide forward fold. So we start to walk those hands toward the center of the mat. Left heel comes down, right toes turn forward. Adjust your feet as needed. And then really just let yourself fully dangle down toward the earth here, trying to be long in the backs of the legs, finding a nice big stretch for the whole back of the hips as you let that upper body just rest down toward the earth. And beginning to slow roll your way up towards standing, wide stance. And coming toward a goddess pose. So start to bring your heels in, turn your toes out. We're looking to have the toes turned out as far as we can and have it still be comfortable for the hips, comfortable for the knees and ankles. Knees tracking the same direction as our second toe, trying to find that nice deep squat, but still making sure that we can maintain our balance. Goddess pose, nice hip opener, but also strengthening. Letting the hands rest at the thighs or at the hips or bringing your arms up to about a 90-degree bend, palms active and fingertips lifted. Stay here and just find a nice few strong breaths, or start a little juicy side to side movement, just kind of rocking yourself one side and then the other. Settle yourself back into stillness and center if you're not already there. Hands resting or hands active. Start to see what it feels like to maybe lift a heel and then the other heel, or maybe lift both heels and lower, or maybe lift both heels. Find a little balance for a moment. And if you're flowing or lifted, letting those heels come back down. Start to straighten through the knees, but don't lock. Reach the hands nice and wide. Find a star pose. And coming into some sunflowers, sinking back deeply into that shape in the lower body as you sweep the hands down toward the earth between the knees. Imagine you're scooping down toward the earth, but you're keeping the spine long and neutral. Pressing into the feet, straightening the knees again. Lift, this time scoop toward the sky. Lower, scoop toward the earth. Inhale, scoop toward the sky. We'll do two more. And then land in that star pose. Let your heels reach out to the side, toes turn forward. One more big inhale. Exhale, wide forward fold. And finding lower body in a lunge shape, facing the back of your mat. Left toes turn. We're going to make sure that right foot is in far enough so that as we start to pivot the hips, we can lift that heel. That back knee is going to stay lifted. We're going to slide that right foot forward, forward fold, slow roll, or circle sweep your way up. Long, tall spine. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Plant the hands. Ground through the right foot, slide the left foot back, starting like we're reaching those legs toward a high lunge shape, but we're just going to use it to come right into wide forward fold. Letting that upper body hang as you really think about opening the back line of the legs, stretching the back of the hips, maybe a little stretch for low back. Starting to slow roll your way up. Finding long, tall spine, finding your way back into a goddess pose. And then again, just checking in, finding softness, finding movement, finding flow, finding whatever the body is asking for, finding whatever feels juicy, feels beneficial. And finding stillness, expanding yourself out into a star pose with an inhale. Exhale, starting moonflowers, sinking to goddess. Palms stay active, elbows toward low ribs. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. Inhale, open. Exhale down one more time. Inhale out to that star pose. We're going to exhale over wide forward fold, letting the heels turn out, toes turn in, softening over, letting those fingertips walk toward your left. Left toes turn to face the side of the mat. Right heel lifts. Slide that right foot forward to meet the left. Forward fold. Find your way up. Heel toe your feet out so they're about as wide as the outer edge of your mat. Heels turned in, toes turned out. Inhale, bring the hands up overhead. We're going to exhale toward Malasana or deep yogi squat. So bringing the palms together, starting to bring the hands to heart center. Tailbone is drawing down toward the space just behind and between our heels. Depending on what's happening with your hips and low spine, Malasana may look like a really deep chair, and you can pause there. Or if it's available, letting that tailbone sink all the way down to the space between the heels, elbows gently pressing to the inner part of the knees, palms together. from whatever shape we landed in. We're going to release the fingertips down toward the earth in front of the feet. Start to lift the tailbone, straighten the knees. Find a slightly wide forward fold. Heel toe the feet in a little. Deep, deep bend into the knees. Plant fingertips or palms. Step back onto one knee and then the other, moving through your tabletop. Untuck the toes, send the hips toward the heels, child's pose. Slow roll your way up through kneeling. Bring the hips over to one side, send the legs out opposite. And we're going to find an easy seat. And notice which foot is crossed or resting in front. Again, finding your long, tall spine. Grab props if you like. Letting awareness come back to that space. A few inches below the navel, center of the being. Does it feel any different? Anything else come up for you? Is the breath different? Is your awareness different? And then take a moment to switch up your feet. Just letting that other foot come in front. Reach the fingertips toward the floor or earth just in front of your shin. Start to create a little bit of a rounded forward fold. Fold over to that point where you start to find a little bit of opening or stretch. Maybe you feel it in hips or spine or legs. And then create that little bit of a side flow, swaying toward one thigh. And then the other. And then we'll roll our way back up. Moving through your neutral spine, we're going to lean back a little bit, bring the fingertips to the earth behind the hips, bring the legs out wide, but keep a bend into the knees. Find some seated windshield wiper. So again, thinking about just really letting hips, legs, spine go. Lift and lower those legs in whatever way feels good. Lift yourself back to long, tall spine. Bring the soles of the feet to meet, knees out to the side, seated bound angle. Trying to lift to your long, tall spine here. Option to bring a little prop to elevate the hips or bring some little props to support the knees. Again, coming into a rounded forward fold and creating a little bit of juicy side movement. Starting to slow roll your way back up. You're going to take the left foot out wide, bring the right heel in toward the groin. Left foot out, right heel in toward the groin, tall spine, fingertips to the earth just in front of shin or ankle. Slow walking out, a little sway as you go. Let yourself sway all the way over toward that extended left leg. Find a breath. Back through center. Sway a little bit in the opposite direction. And coming back to center. All the way out, seated wide forward fold or open angle, fingertips to the earth in front of the hips. Slowly slide your way over, a little side to side movement as you go. Bringing your way back up. Left heel comes in toward the groin, right leg stays long. Fingertips come to the earth and make your way over. Coming over to that place where you start to feel some opening, some stretch, some feedback. And then let yourself come all the way over toward that right side thigh. Back through center. Opposite side. And back through center, slow roll up. Both legs come wide. Hands to the floor, slide your way over. Let yourself open a little more through one side of the body and then the other. Slowly make your way back up. We're gonna come toward cow face pose. So if you like props here, grab whatever pillows, blankets you need to make cow face comfortable. So we're gonna bring the right heel all the way back in. We're gonna start to slide our left heel in to make a little space. We're gonna try to bring this heel all the way back toward the glute so that our knee is pointing in the same direction as heart center. We're gonna bring this knee on top of the right knee and bring that heel all the way back toward the glute. So options here, you can see I've got a little bit of lift under my hips, or you can put a little bit of prop between your knees, or you can allow those legs to not come in quite so far so you're in more of a fire log shape. And if the knees won't rest directly on the opposite surface, again, you can prop up a knee with a little bit of a bolster. So choosing your variation for the lower body, finding long, tall spine, and then starting to find a little bit of a folding forward as you come forward, allowing yourself to round. If you have blocks here, you can stack up blocks to support your forehead as you come over, or bring your elbows onto your props and then rest your forehead in your hands, or you could stay a little more active. And then again, thinking about rocking through the pelvis, a swaying or an organic movement as you find just a micro movement further toward one side and then the other. You can do this with those hands resting on your props. Finding one more full breath. Making your way back up. Unwind the legs, seated windshield wipers. Hands come behind you, heels are wide, knees are bent. Knees fall to one side, opposite hip lifts. Knees fall other side, opposite hip lifts. All right, second side. So keeping in mind you may need different props or a different shape, different variation for second side. Trying to tuck that left heel directly back toward the right glute. And then either letting the knees stack right on top of one another, or fire log, either variation with props to support the lower body as needed. Noticing any differences side to side. Find your long, tall spine and juicy rollover. And again, when you come to the bottom, maybe you want to grab a block, place your elbows on a block, rest your head in your hands, create that little movement in the lower body. One more full breath. Slow rolling your way up. Releasing the legs to find a few seated windshield wipers. And once more, finding your way. Easy seat, props if you like. As you settle in, notice which leg landed in front. Switch it up. Bring that awareness back to that space, a few inches below the navel, right in the very center of your being. Soft gaze or eyes closed. One more opportunity to just observe. How are you feeling in that part of your body? Other parts of your body? How do you feel at the end of this short practice? And now maybe flowing into another part of your practice or flowing into the rest of your day, whatever it is. I hope that it is most spectacular.